Hey, welcome back to the Coach Rob Show. This portion of the Coach Rob Show is brought to you by Linda Lane of the Lane Team and Benchmark Realty. Linda is an expert realtor who has for 20 years been a licensed agent, experienced agent in the Middle Tennessee area. If you're a first-time home buyer, or you are looking for your dream home, or if you're looking to sell your home, Linda is my recommendation. She is the perfect combination of a joyful and sweet person who is a delight to work with, and she's also a bulldog in contract negotiations and a detailed person when it comes to coordination of contingency items and managing the legal and financial pieces of the home buying process. My wife and I have worked with Linda on several occasions. She has helped my in-laws relocate to Franklin, Tennessee from South Carolina, and she helped both my adult children purchase their first homes. Get in touch with Linda Lane at thelaneteam.com. Put Coach Rob in the subject line as a promo code. Let her know that Coach Rob got you in touch. That's Linda Lane at thelaneteam.com. Work with Linda and experience stress-free home buying. You'll be glad you did. We're talking about 2025 and just the outlook as people in the United States. Just being part of this nation, to me, is a fascinating thing to be able to ask, what is a waste of your time when it comes to worrying about or complaining about things that you just can't control? And then what is it that might be mine to do? What is it that might be yours to do in terms of responsibility, in terms of opportunity, how we communicate, how we interact with people? I do a lot of communication with people in person, but because of the way the world works now, I do a lot of communication with people online as well, through social media and through other sort of conversations. But one of the things, and I haven't always succeeded at this, I've flat out failed at this at times, but I've got people that I communicate with on social media who do not agree with conservative values. They do not support Donald Trump. They do not consider themselves Republicans, and that's okay. But what I try to do, what I try to challenge people with, and I try to do it in a respectful way. I try to do it in a way that represents not just my side of the political argument, but in a way that represents Jesus and the way he would communicate. And just reiterating this, I try to figure out what God is doing in the world and how I can join him in that work. And he's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing a lot of stuff on a worldwide level. He's doing a lot of stuff with our nation. He's doing a lot of stuff in my community, and he's doing a lot of stuff with me. And I'm trying to stay in tune with that and to try to honor him in what I'm doing. I don't try to obey God because I'm trying to earn his favor. I'm trying to respond to the grace that he's already shown me and that we just celebrated this week in the birth of Jesus. We celebrated that because that's what enables us to get right with God, not what we do, not the work that we put in, but the grace that we choose to humbly accept. And once I accept that, that's taken care of in terms of my eternal salvation, but I still have a life to live here on this earth. And the process of figuring out how to live that life, how to follow whatever it is he might be calling me to do is a challenge. And so when it comes to communication, when it comes to trying to ask questions, I don't think that it's my job to convert liberals to conservatism. I don't think that it's necessarily my job to convert non-believers to Christianity. But I do believe it's my job to represent Christianity. And I believe it's my job, when given the opportunity, to be able to be sincere and respectful, but firm in what I believe the truth is. And so the more opportunities I have to talk to people about why it is I believe what I believe and ask questions about what they believe, and if they bring up something that I'm not familiar with, the best thing I want to do is ask questions about it. I just had an interaction on Facebook with a guy that I think he actually moved back to New Orleans, but he was in Louisiana when I lived there, and became a little bit friends with him. I mean, not super close, but acquaintances, and talked about a few things, and enough to where I respected him. And he was kind of involved in the high school football world, which I was heavily involved in as well. And we've had some discussions about politics, and he's pretty much anti-Trump all the way around. But what I do know is a lot of the sources that we're hearing this stuff from are purely politically driven. And that doesn't mean that everything they say is a lie. A liar doesn't lie all the time. But a liar is not to be trusted. And you just don't know what's true and what's not. Now, I don't have any skin in the game with Matt Gaetz. The only, I guess, skin in the game, and it's really not, that's not a good term, but the only reason I might care about Matt Gaetz' character is that Trump nominated the guy to be AG. And I would hope that Trump would not nominate a guy to be AG that's corrupt. I think there may be a lot that's being said about him that may not be true. And so I'm just holding off on judgment about it. But it could be true that everything that you're hearing about Matt Gaetz that's derogatory is correct. And if that's the case, then, I've got to be willing to admit that, because I'm trying to be loyal to the truth. Because he said some things about Clarence Thomas's corruption. And he sent me an article in Forbes magazine that came out in, I think it was late 2023, maybe it was early 2024. And it just had all this stuff about his wife and how she's a conservative Republican and how Clarence Thomas took trips and he got gifts from people and he didn't pay back his loans. And it's all really kind of sketchy in terms of hearsay. It's not real concrete. But the biggest thing that sort of popped out at me in this Forbes article was that he did not report certain things that he was doing that he was supposed to submit. And then I did some further investigation. I found out that a lot of those regulations for Supreme Court justices changed in late 2023. And a lot of this stuff was alleged that he had done in the early 2000s, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And so it just seemed to me that, those things are being drudged up by people just trying to gain political standing to try to smear Clarence Thomas. So I'll keep you posted on that Clarence Thomas discussion. If any of you have anything to share, I'd love your comments on Facebook or on YouTube to give me some more sources. But I don't believe Clarence Thomas is a corrupt or a bad guy. Now, I could be naive and I could be wrong. I'm willing to pursue the truth. But if you're going to present me with articles that are written by people who are citing other journalists who I know to be absolute haters of everything conservative and Republican, then you're going to have to do better than that. I'm not going to fall into this, well, Rachel Maddow said it. Well, Rachel Maddow's a liar. She just is. I can promise you Rachel Maddow's a liar. I can promise you AOC is a liar. And I don't mean somebody that says, well, this should have been a business expense or this. I've had enough tax returns to know that there's plenty of things that could be argued either way about how you do tax returns. Okay. I also know that if you're specifically saying things about people and how they're corrupt and how they should be impeached or removed or this kind of thing, and all you've got is, well, his wife really is a strong conservative and she goes to conservatives fundraisers, or Clarence Thomas didn't report that he took this trip with this friend when he didn't really need to, then that you're going to have to do better than that. Okay. So anyway, the way we deal with people, to me, has to be respectful, but it also has to be in a way that just is coming from a stance that's not a know-it-all stance. Not a stance that, hey, you're an idiot, I know this, you don't. It's more of a, hey, I really believe this to be true, and if you believe otherwise, hey, convince me. Show me things that I haven't seen, and I'm willing to do that. But I'm not going to just fall for any sort of article that you give me and kind of go from there. So hopefully that's a better way of doing it. And the more we interact with people as this year unfolds, we're going to see if Trump is going to be successful with his agenda or not. I do believe that Trump's agenda, for the most part, is the agenda of the people. I believe that's what the people voted for, namely cleaning up Washington. I think that's the most important thing. I think all the issues and the specific policies will follow that. But if we can clean up Washington, that's something that can change this country in a good way for a long time. All right, this is the Coach Rob Show. When we come back, I'm going to get with Alex Deitz and talk college football, and then we'll get into movies after that. Thanks so much for being here. Talk to you in a minute.